السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وآله وصحبه أجمعين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إن في خلق السماوات والأرض واختلاف الليل والنهار والفلك التي تجري في البحر بما ينفع الناس وما أنزل الله من السماء من ماء فأحيا به الأرض بعد موتها وبث فيها من كل دابة وتصريف الرياح والسحاب المسخر بين السماء والأرض لآيات لقوم يعقلون. Dear brothers, my presentation is on the topic Nursi's Madrasatul Zahra and the Islamic education in the state of Kerala. Dear brothers, it is a great pleasure to me to get an opportunity to recall the memories and ideas of a great reformer, Badiüzzaman Saeed Nursi, the prominent Muslim scholar of Turkey and the powerful leader of Muslim Ummah in 19th century. As you know, the Western ideas and culture continue to hold sway over most parts of the Muslim world. It is no exaggeration to say, as Edward Said has perceptively observed, that the Muslim world in general and the Arab world in particular is an intellectual, political and cultural satellite of the United States and its European allies. Universities and centers of higher learning in the Muslim world are generally run according to the Western pattern. The patronage system in the scholarship, funding and research, which is heavily Western-oriented, reinforces the intellectual hegemony of the West. Saeed Hussein Nasr says that we have made ourselves an appendix to Western thought. In this context, we recall the ideas of Badiüzzaman, who challenged Mustafa Kemal and his westernized administrative policies and unwise educational visions with a lot of strikes and intellectual struggles. We remember Mustafa Kemal wanted to transform Turkey into a secular state by divesting it of Islamic identity. He advocated the wholesale westernization, following which Islamic law was replaced by the European legal code and the Persian script of Turkish language was changed to Latin. The traditional Turkish cap was banned and replaced by the European hat. Traditional Islamic institutions such as Madaris and Sufi Khanqahs were forcibly closed down. The major contribution of Saeed Nursi in the educational field is the vision of Madrasatul Zahra. It was his educational vision which opened the minds of the people in Turkey. He tried to combine all sorts of sciences into the framework of Islamic epistemology. He wanted to revive the Islamic educational system, preserving the classical texts and including modern methodologies. Nursi says on his idea of Madrasatul Zahra, suppose Islam is shaped in a beautiful palace shining in the surface of the earth. The center of modern education will be a floor of the palace, and the center of religious education will be the inner room. One of the corners will be asylum. Its portico is the convention center or assembly hall in which they criticize and correct each other. The light of this luxurious divine palace will brighten the entire world as the sunlight reflects from the mirror. He worked hard to establish his Madrasatul Zahra and prepared the planning of his institution and submitted that project to the Ottoman Caliph Sultan Abdul Hamid in the year 1907. He said the religious education is light of heart, while the material education is the light of mind. The combination of both will lead to the truth. The separation of one from another creates these deceptions and suspicions. Again, he submitted the project of Madrasatul Zahra to Sultan Rashad after delivering his historic speech in the Umayyad Mosque of Damascus, explaining the illness of Muslim Ummah and his suggestions to recover it. Sultan accepted his proposal and offered him all kinds of his assistance and management of expenses for the construction of Madrasatul Zahra in the shore of Lake Van, and laid the foundation stone in the year 1911. Unfortunately, they cannot fulfill their goal due to the widespread of World War II in the Islamic provinces, particularly in Turkey. Let me quote some rules and regulations of Madrasatul Zahra, which are formed by Saeed Nursi, as he says, التسمية باسم المدرسة لأنه مألوف ومأنوس وجذاب ومع كونه عنوانا اعتباريا إلا أنه يتضمن حقيقة عظيمة مما يهيج الأشواق وينبه الرغبات. مزج العلوم الكونية الحديثة ودرجهما مع العلوم الدينية مع جعل اللغة العربية واجبة والكردية جائزة والتركية لازمة. انتخاب المعلمين فيها إما من العلماء الأكراد من ذوي الجناحين أي الموثقين والمعتمدين من قبل الأكراد والأتراك، أو ممن يعرفون اللغة المحلية ليستأنس بهم. الاستشارة باستعداد الأكراد وقابلياتهم وجعل صباوتهم وبساطتهم نصب العين، وكم من لباس يستحسن على قامة يستقبح على أخرى، وتعليم الصبيان بالقصر أو بمداعبة ميولهم. تطبيق قاعدة تقسيم الأعمال بحذافيرها حتى يتخرج من كل شعبة متخصصون مهرة مع أنها مداخل ومخارج بعضها ببعض. إيجاد السبيل بعد تخرج المداومين وضمان تقدمهم واستفاضتهم حتى يتساووا مع خريج المدارس العليا ويتعامل معهم بنفس المعاملة مع المدارس العليا والمعاهد الرسمية، وجعل امتحاناتها كامتحانات تلك المدارس منتجة دون تركها عقيمة. اتخاذ دار المعلمين ركيزة لهذه المدرسة ودمجها معها ليسر الانتظام والاستفاضة من العلم من هذه إلى تلك والفضيلة والتدين من تلك إلى هذه حتى يكون كل منها ذا جناحين بالتبادل. In the same way, the scholars of the state of Kerala left footprints of value-oriented Islamic education. They developed their ideas to the systematic methodologies of their period. They preserved the Islamic knowledge through the institutions of Othupalli, Pallidars and Madrasa. The eminent masters of these institutions were confined in the religious realm and could not extend their knowledge beyond their horizons due to the barrier of language and modern education. As a remedy, an intellectual leadership of Muslim community of the state gathered and initiated to create a new generation of ulama who can combine all education and set dialogue in order to the modern trends. They planned an effective and practical philosophy to achieve their goals. As a result, Darul Huda Islamic Academy was established in 1986 and formally upgraded to an Islamic university in 2009. A host of brilliant minds like Maulana M. Bashir Musliar, Maulana C.H. Haidaros Musliar, Dr. U. Baputti Haji, Sayyid Omar Ali Shihab Tangal, and Professor E. Muhammad Sahab, Sheikhuna Charusheri Zainuddin Musliar, and Dr. Bahauddin Muhammad Nadwi and like came together and worked as think tank of community in order to bring back Islamic education to its original vision. They visualized the Islamic scholar who can refer the classical branches of Islamic sciences and able to relate the theories and principles of Islam and viewpoints of Sharia to the present realities and issues, and who can understand different faiths and make platform for dialogues between Islam and other religions.
applying the scientific methodology of teaching philosophy and propagation. They formed a group of scholars who can uphold Islamic tradition with a spiritual richness and an intellectual manner. Maulana Bashir Musliar had continuously spoken and written and worked hard to make Muslim scholars who are able to learn the subjects of natural sciences, physical sciences, construction, transportation, engineering, agriculture and industries, and handicraft. He quoted the words of Ghazali and other eminent scholars saying that to pursue this knowledge as farz kifaya, that is compulsory obligation on Muslim Ummah. Islamic approach of seeking knowledge extends home and mind to connect the religious facts with the universal facts and human life. Man should be bothered and conscious about his surroundings. Islam doesn't allow him to highlight a specific type of science or education and be ignorant in everything else. Quran says, إِنَّ فِي خَلْقِ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَاخْتِلَافِ اللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ وَالْفُلْكِ الَّتِي تَجْرِي فِي الْبَحْرِ بِمَا يَنْفَعُ النَّاسِ وَمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنَ السَّمَاءِ مِن مَّاءٍ فَأَحْيَا بِهِ الْأَرْضَ بَعْدَ مَوْتِهَا وَبَثَّ فِيهَا مِن كُلِّ دَابَّةٍ وَتَصْرِيفِ الرِّيَاحِ وَالسَّحَابِ الْمُسَخَّرِ بَيْنَ السَّمَاءِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَآيَاتٍ لِقَوْمٍ يَعْقِلُونَ. Verily, in the creation of earth and heaven, and the alternation of day and night, and the ship sails upon the sea which is that of use of man, and the water which Allah sends down from the sky, and scattered all types of beasts therein, and in the ordinance of the wind, and the clouds obedient between earth, are signs for the people who have understanding and sense. The Quran says that man is differentiated from the animals by virtue of the fact that he has been endowed by God that with reasoning faculty. It repeatedly exhorts people to observe natural phenomena and reflect over the mysterious of nature and human sight. It is important to say that the word knowledge in its various derivatives has been mentioned 778 times in the Quran. The Prophet persuaded his followers to acquire and disseminate knowledge far and wide. The discharge of religious obligation necessitated an understanding of natural process are resulted in a number of scientific inventions and innovations. For example, in order to determine the direction of Kaaba, one requires sufficient knowledge of physical geography and astronomy. It is significant to note that most Islamic astronomical handbooks contain a chapter on the determination of Qibla. Similarly, fasting in the month of Ramadan, which is reckoned according to the visibility of the moon, encouraged the study of astronomy. The problems relating to the inheritance necessitated the study of mathematics. Darul Huda imparts education in all fields and subjects. It creates thousands of gadgets and thousands of post-graduates and many research fellows in the different departments of various universities in India and abroad. They have been studying various branches of different sciences. Many of the scholars came out from this university, are working in the field of Islamic propagation in the different parts of the world. Darul Huda has created many professionals having good knowledge of management and information technology, not for a government job, not to be a practicing Muslim. Instead of it aims to produce think tanks, scholarly leaders. In short, I would like to say the vision of Badi'ul Zaman Saeed Nursi has been practiced through the educational efforts of Darul Huda Islamic University in many ways. It resembles in the educational moments of this great center of Islamic learning. His dreams have been fulfilled through the successful efforts of his unique institution. Darul Huda is affiliated to Al-Azhar in its early period, as Nursi wanted to open Madrasatul Zahra as a branch of Al-Azhar. In the same way, Darul Huda is also affiliated to many other national and international universities. Moreover, it is a member of Federation of Islamic Universities of Cairo and Rabat. عجزت يدي بالرحن عن شكر بركم عجزت يدي بالعجز عن شكر بركم فما شوك الشكر في الشكور مزيد. السلام عليكم.